Jennifer, after a few weeks of dating, wanted to have a serious conversation with me and told me that she had Turner syndrome. My response to that was, "What's Turner syndrome?" My name is Mike McDowell. My story with Turner syndrome begins in the June of 2012 when I met my then soon to be wife, Jennifer. Jennifer, after a few weeks of dating, wanted to have a serious conversation with me and sat me down and told me that she had Turner syndrome. My response to that was, "What's Turner syndrome? I've never heard of it." And as I found out later, I'm not alone in that. It's not super well known among the general public, which is a little surprising because 1 in 2,000 women actually have Turner syndrome, and it's expected that number could actually be higher due to lack of awareness and the fact that some women go undiagnosed for a significant period of time. So it is surprising that it's not better known than it is, but I really appreciated Jennifer taking the time to explain it to me early on in our relationship so I knew about some of the symptoms, some of the risks, some of the things that as a couple we would eventually deal with together in dealing with Turner syndrome, including her medical treatment and how I could support her with that. So, fast forward about 6 years. Jen and I had been married for about 3 years by that time. And Jen woke up one day and started experiencing some pretty severe chest pain. She was definitely concerned. We had spoken about what we should do, and Jennifer decided to go into work that day, see how it would go, and let me know. She would let me know if it was seeming to get worse and we needed to get it checked out. I said, "Let's definitely try and get it checked out as soon as we can if you're getting concerned." And sure enough, I heard from her a few hours later that she wanted to leave work and go get it looked at. So I immediately left work, went and picked her up from work, and we went to the doctor's office to have it looked at. The first thing we did when we got there was inform them Jennifer has Turner syndrome, and we're concerned about chest pain because we know that Turner syndrome patients are at a higher risk for heart related illness, and that chest pain is one of the warning signs of that. So they asked us a few other questions, did some initial tests, and after maybe an hour or two in the office, they eventually concluded that we had nothing to worry about. It was simply a case of gas. They prescribed us some gas medication, sent us home, said if she was still experiencing discomfort tomorrow, to give a call back, also to follow up with our family doctor. And that's exactly what we did. So we went home that night. The next morning, Jennifer woke up. She was still in a good bit of pain, so we were still definitely concerned, and we immediately called our family doctor. And our family doctor obviously was familiar with Jen's conditions, the risks, what we were concerned about, and he said that he didn't have the equipment in his office to do all the tests that might need to be done in order to rule out any possible heart conditions or those sorts of things. So he advised us to immediately go to the hospital to get this checked out, which is exactly what we did. So we drove to the emergency room. She got taken back fairly quickly. Again, the first thing we did was inform them Jennifer has Turner syndrome. We're concerned that these symptoms might be related to a Turner syndrome related heart issue, and we want to make sure we can rule that out and see what's actually going on here. So, again, we were at the hospital probably for several hours. They asked a bunch of questions, did several more tests, and in the end, they came back to us and again said, "Look, we really don't think you have anything to worry about. We checked everything out. It looks like it's just that she's having an issue with some gas. Here's some different medication you can try out. So go ahead and take this. If you're still experiencing issues after a few days, you can follow up with your doctor and take it from there." So, again, we went home feeling a little bit better, but still concerned. So Jennifer woke up the next morning and she asked if I could work from home with her that day because she was still feeling a little uncomfortable. She said she thought she might have felt a little better, but she wasn't quite sure. So we both started working from home together. And after a few hours, I just remember hearing a crash next to me. We were both working at the table together, and I looked down and I saw Jennifer lying on the floor. And sadly, what had happened was that Jennifer had passed away from an aortic dissection. And obviously, what followed was a lot of grief, um, years of therapist appointments, a lot of healing needed to be done on my side. And the sad part is, as you're going through that process, you realize it's too late for your partner to do any healing. They're already gone. So, after going through that healing process, I wanted to find a way that I could make what happened to Jennifer and her loss meaningful in some way, a way to share her story to impact other people and make sure that nothing like this ever happened again. And in doing that search, I found the Turner Syndrome's website. And what immediately drew me to their website was that their core mission was to raise awareness about the disease. And I truly believe that raising awareness about Turner syndrome in and of itself can and will save lives. So I was immediately drawn to their mission, and um, the first thing that really drew me in was I saw they had these emergency alert cards. And it was just a simple card. It has the patient's contact information. It lists that they have Turner syndrome. But what really struck me was what's on the back of the card. And what's on the back of the card is a large message that says, women with Turner syndrome are at a greater than average risk for aortic dissection. If this patient presents with chest pain, do not send her home until the possibility of aortic dissection has been considered. When concerned, a CT scan is highly recommended. A CT scan is highly recommended in large red print right at the bottom. And the reason this struck me the way it did is I feel that if Jennifer and I had this in our hands when we took her to the hospital that morning, this simple card may have very well saved her life. And my hope is in working with the Turner Syndrome Foundation and hopefully with your support of the foundation, we can get these cards in the hands of every woman, every girl out there who's impacted by Turner Syndrome, so that when they walk into that doctor's office, they won't leave until they've been checked out and a CT scan's been performed if they are presenting risk factors for an aortic dissection. In short, that they get the treatment they deserve. I'm a diabetic. When I walk into a doctor's office, I don't have to wonder if my doctor is going to understand what diabetes is, what my risk factors are, what treatments he needs to provide to me before I leave that office. It's an assumption and an understanding that any doctor I talk to is going to know and execute on that information. Turner syndrome patients don't have that same peace of mind. And that shouldn't be the case. So, why I hope you will join me in supporting the Turner Syndrome Foundation is that first, so that we can get these cards in the hands of every woman and girl out there impacted by Turner syndrome. And second, so that we can create a world where they don't have to have this card in their hands every time they go to a doctor. That when they walk into that office, that doctor is going to know what Turner syndrome is, what its risks are, and know that that patient should not leave their office until the due diligence has been done to make sure that they may not be on the cusp of a life-threatening medical condition. So with all of that, I hope that today you'll take away first just the memory of my wife, Jennifer McDowell, and her story, and also use that story and think about that to help drive your decision to support the Turner Syndrome Foundation so that none of our mothers, daughters, aunts, cousins, or our wives ever have to go through what Jennifer went through. Thank you.